Reversing 5 years of car wash damage on a very special vehicle.
Hi, I'm Ivan.
I'm Nick.
And this is DIY Detail. Nick has a soft spot for Subarus, that's why it's a very special vehicle to him. But nonetheless, it has been through car washes for 5 years. It's time to correct that.
We've done fancy supercars like Ferraris, but I have a Subaru Legacy at home, and when I see one, Ivan, it is the most special of cars, and that's why we're going to take extra special care of this today.
Very good. With that, let's start washing it.
This is the way we prepare for polishing and ceramic coating, is it not?
Yeah. The wheels can use a bit of help. And that's why we have All Clean, our dedicated all-purpose cleaner, meaning that it will take on tires, it will take on wheels, it will take on bug guts. It will take on a lot of different things.
We're gonna use rinseless wash to pre-treat the paint, but what's the difference, Ivan, if someone's just kind of learning about car wash, chemicals and products and processes? What's the difference between an all-purpose cleaner like All Clean and our rinseless wash, which is in this sprayer?
Rinseless wash is a milder formulation. All Clean is a little more aggressive. Now on the wheels, we can get a little more aggressive, especially for the tires. You'll notice the tires are starting to turn sort of a brown color here.
It's also worth noting you don't need fancy tools.
No.
However, with All Clean in the foamer, I do really think that the foaming process brings out the most in our All Clean.
100%.
Whereas this, all you need to do is get it on. This is a fancy keg. If I just had a spray bottle and I was willing to pull the trigger 100 times, all I'm trying to do is distribute the product on the surface, and it's doing a great job for us.
Right. Now, what the rinseless wash, and it's diluted 256 to 1 or 4 milliliters to a liter, what it's doing is emulsifying the dirt that's on the surface. So all that dust and dirt that was on the surface is being lifted off using the rinseless wash. Once it's lifted off, we're going to be using a pressure washer. You can use a garden hose if you want. It doesn't matter, but this is a little more efficient, uses a little less water. And we'll be taking this off because this is a pre-treatment. We're not going to start washing on this because that could damage your paint. Now that's dwelled, time to rinse it away.
I'm tempted to just go ahead and wash the wheels right away, Ivan. Tell me why I shouldn't do that.
Well, your wheels have grit, they have brake dust, they have all sorts of things on them. And just like you wouldn't start taking a brush to this paint right now, you won't take a brush to those wheels. Your wheels are clear coated just like the rest of the vehicle. So why scratch your wheels? Treat
them well. They get a lot of abuse. We're still doing the chemical rinse chemical method before contacting them.
The owner of this Subaru is a local fan of ours, lives here in Omaha.
Big fan.
And a big user of ceramic gloss, and we can see just how it's reacting on this paint.
What would you say is more important? How thoroughly I pre-treat with rinseless before the pressure washer rinse, or how thoroughly I'm getting the rinseless on now? And this could be incredible suds too, either way. Like,
right.
Which treatment is more important to do thoroughly and not miss a spot? And
both.
Both?
Yeah. Ideally, the first one is the most important, but same goes, do the job right, have a great foundation, your house will be nice and square.
It's a great metaphor. Why is it important to put any product on after we've rinsed, right? So whether it was Incredible Suds or rinseless, why is it important to get product on before we touch either the wheels or the paint?
Lubrication, safety, that's what we're trying to do. And in doing so, we're guaranteeing that we're not going to inflict any damage to the paint.
What's left now? I mean, we've done a nice job of pre-treating and rinsing. I'm having a tough time seeing what's left on the paint. Doesn't mean there's nothing left, right?
No, there will be a traffic film that's left behind.
Okay, and I made sure to get the wheels with rinseless as well, so they too have a lubrication benefit on the surface.
In my wheel bucket right now, there happens to be Incredible Suds. That's where you're seeing the suds, but it could be rinseless just as well, not an issue.
There's always the option to spray some iron remover on wheels at this point. Obviously, brake dust is very prevalent in and around wheels, right, Ivan?
Yeah.
And the iron remover attacks that very well. You couldn't go wrong. If you sprayed some iron remover on at this point and then agitated in, you would be just fine. In fact, I want to see if it's going to bring up any purple. So I'm going to do just that. I can't resist, Ivan. When it comes to product and me, just more product always seems more fun. Ivan's a minimalist.
And actually, these wheels are very well maintained because the barrel brush is coming out clean from the wheel.
Ivan, why is less so often more when it comes to product or process? I just feel like you're the master of efficiency.
Using more product generally causes more problems than it solves. With a quality product, you don't need to use a lot. With a, shall we say, lesser quality product, sometimes more is better, but not in our case.
It really is worth spending the extra minute to get every surface of the wheel and not just sloppily breeze by and then have a bunch of stuff left over at the end that you're just actually wiping into the surface when you're trying to like do your final wipe down.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Like just cleaning it right the first time. You don't have to take an hour on each wheel, but going around a circle, making sure you're getting every surface wiped with your soap or your rinseless. It's just an important part of the process.
It sure is.
Boy, these wheels are incredibly clean, Ivan.
Yeah, they definitely are.
Iron remover was not necessary. But I did it anyway.
Like I said, a fan of the channel, and they do great work at maintaining their vehicles.
It's about that time, Ivan.
Sponge time. In our bucket, we have rinseless wash, diluted 256 to 1. And the legacy sponge.
What the heck is a legacy sponge?
Well, apparently, I'm not the one who named it, by the way. Apparently, I have a legacy in designing sponges for this industry, so it's my legacy.
There's a bunch of slits in here, and
Yeah.
I'm guessing they do something important as you're washing.
Right.
Pretend like I've never heard of this before, Ivan. I'm trying to get you to sell me on this invention of yours.
So the legacy sponge is nice and thick to help reduce pressure points. It has these slits that allow it to conform to the surface. You never want to use a flat surface. You always want to use the surface that can conform. And also these slits, what they do is, if you do have grit on the vehicle, it's going to embed itself between them. And as soon as you touch your wash bucket with it, it's clean again. And with rinseless wash, let me demonstrate here, you can see where you've been and where you haven't. So I purposely left this stripe here. You can see where I haven't been. Let's get rid of that stripe. The two colors, the two sides are actually the same foam, just different colors. And you can see all the dirt I picked up off of that lower rocker panel there. Touch it to the wash bucket, it comes clean.
I like to work the upper panels first, save front bumper for last because it's going to be the dirtiest. It's just sort of building in a system that works for you in terms of where to start, how to maneuver around the car efficiently, Ivan. Any other thoughts on how you like to approach the car washing real estate?
Yeah, I like to do a similar thing, but I always leave the front bumper till last. The reason for leaving the front bumper till last is if you have insects that are there, the product is working, it's doing its job. When you get around to it, it'll be nice and clean. Now, I did the rocker panels. You can see there's a little bit of dirt on the sponge from the rocker panels. Touch, squeeze, clean.
Even though the foam is the same on both sides,
Yep.
it really helps me keep track of where I've been, all right? So I did the rear door with black, I flipped to red. That's all I need to keep in mind. I don't have to remember the quadratic equation or try to remember all my family members' birthdays or try to solve the meaning of life. It's just one color per panel. Frees up my mind to get distracted, lose focus, do all the things, but not compromise the safety of my wash process, Ivan. So don't think that simple is a bad thing. It's actually the reason we designed it this way. Okay, do you see how black my sponge is? That's not just wet, that's black. This is why the system's amazing. Dropping it in the rinseless wash bucket, dunking it, squeezing it, just like that. If I'm wondering, did that really get clean? One more time. Sometimes the darkness looks like, the wetness looks like it's dirty, but it's all clean. Anyway, I'm done, Ivan.
So am I.
Okay.
You're not done.
Front bumper?
No, you. Well, the front bumper, and you missed a spot on the windshield.
Did I?
Yeah, right here.
Is that why rinses is so good?
You can see where you've been and where you haven't been.
Oh, yes, of course.
Next up, since we're going to be polishing and coating this vehicle, we need to decontaminate it. One of the integral parts of our decontamination system is the perforated synthetic decontamination towel and iron remover. The two are like a marriage made in heaven. Plus, we have some rinseless on the surface that aids in lubrication. One spray on the towel, one spray on the surface, match them up, and off we go.
If you're working in a production detail shop, I'll just leave this decon towel soaking in my wash bucket overnight.
Yep.
And I'll probably change the solution the next day, but it's just as easy of a storage area to just put the decon towel in the wash bucket. But last night, I actually rinsed this out with water, which is what we teach people to do.
Right.
And I just hung it up, clay side up on the side of a bucket, so it's nice and clean. To store it, and I know you're about to finish this vehicle, Ivan, so it's working time. You can actually just roll it up and put it in the box that it came in. So there's lots of options with the decon towel. Folks don't always think of what they're gonna do after they use it, Ivan. Then they ask us questions on the channel and say, how do I clean and store the towel? So there you go.
The upper surfaces of this vehicle are nice and clean, which is great. I don't feel any contamination nor hear it. We'll see going across the back bumper. That's normally one of the worst areas in terms of contamination.
How often do you flip the towel, Ivan?
After every panel. Do a panel or a section and flip your towel after you've used 4 sections. Put it back in your wash bucket for a second and carry on. Always important to decontaminate your windows. And yes, even iron remover on the windows.
This paint is in great shape.
It is. Now, it's in great shape contamination-wise. The rest, not so good. So, it started like going through a a car wash on a regular basis. But since then, the owner discovered DIY detail and has been hand washing ever since. Discovering the joys of hand washing your vehicle, the fun that's involved.
Why do you think it's fun?
Because it is.
I know, I get it, but I'm like,
satisfying.
I just want to have the conversation. Like, why do you think it is fun? The discovery of the thing. Maybe you've done this your whole life, but like me, I got my Subaru Legacy back in 2017. It was just a basic commuter car, but it was new. And I was like, I need to take care of this. And then I found detailers on YouTube and my life changed. So I think I know why, but what do you think it is? You watch people come in and out of the detail game all the time. Why do you think people fall in love with it?
When you do it right, it's satisfying. And I can tell you more why people fall out of love with it. They get paralyzed from overthinking. When they do that, that's when it doesn't become fun anymore. We've tried to design a very simple, effective, and efficient process here that makes it so that anyone can do this and they have fun doing it.
You get disillusioned when you start and you believe in products and maybe even a company, and then you realize, like, wait, these don't actually work very well. So when we started this company, Ivan, I was like, let's make it about the fun. Let's make products that people can use when they're just starting out, but they're not going to disappoint them. In fact, they're going to be so good, they would have been good enough for me as a pro.
Yes.
And it's been a fun journey, right? We're just trying to demystify all this stuff, give you all the satisfying feelings of a job well done with products you can trust. So, all right, what's next?
Rinse the iron remover off the surface. And once it's off, we have one last decontamination step. When rinsing, we want to make sure we're removing all the white froth that you see. That tells us that everything is off the surface.
What an amazing piece of machinery and design, Ivan. I do love me a Subaru Legacy. It's amazing. So many memories.
Next step, water spot remover. The reason for water spot remover is a mineral cleanse. We want to remove the minerals off the surface. And the minerals we can't see, we can't feel, we can't smell. We might be able to taste, but I'm not going to taste a car. That being said, what they do is the minerals are there and they sort of cloak the surface. If you drive in the winter, you've got salt buildup on the sides. If you're in a coastal environment, you've got that dew in the morning that just covers the car in that salt water.
You're talking, you're not spraying.
There you go.
So we're mineral cleansing with our water spot remover.
Now you can see as soon as Nick sprays it on the surface, the water starts to run away. And that is by design. It's designed to do that. And the mineral cleanse or the water spot remover is great at just bringing back the hydrophobics of your vehicle. So if you have a coated vehicle and the hydrophobics are starting to wane a little bit, that's where the mineral cleanse comes in.
Question for you, Ivan.
Yes.
Why would you use a towel to agitate this in versus just spraying it on as I'm doing now? Because I've demonstrated both in the past.
Yeah.
But I have my thoughts and I'd like you to share yours.
The towel does a better job because not only are we spreading, we're slightly agitating. And we know the surface is clean at this point. We have washed it, we have decontaminated it with iron remover, with the decontamination towel. There's nothing left on the surface other than those pesky little minerals. And
running a little low in this bottle, I apologize.
Yeah, using a rinseless dampened towel, I'm going to agitate it, but I'm only using one side of the towel. I'm not flipping the towel, which as a detailer, sort of a difficult thing not to flip the towel. It's ingrained into us to flip towels.
If you've ever had a coated vehicle that stops beating on the vertical panels and you live in a winter environment where they're putting salt on the roads, your paint needs a mineral cleanse. Water spot remover, fantastic for that. Also, as Ivan so eloquently described, fantastic for preparation in terms of ceramic coating.
Yep.
And of course, polishing. I've been accused of using a lot of product. I won't deny it. But I'm just trying to be redundant here, and that means the cleanse is happening on my watch. We're not missing spots.
And speaking of missing spots, that's the other reason the agitation is so good, because you are spreading it everywhere. So if in spraying something was missed, in the agitation, you shouldn't be missing anything.
So in fact, you probably are spraying more if you're not gonna use the towel
Yeah,
versus when you're using the towel.
right.
Because you're more likely gonna miss a spot if you're not agitating it with the towel.
And just like the wash with the rinseless, if you miss a spot agitating, you can see that you missed a spot.
I love this step. It's a step that like the owner may never know you do, but you're doing it for the love of the game. You're doing it because you believe in a job well done, thoroughly done, no steps skipped.
It actually makes polishing easier, and you'll get better results from your polishing steps. The more clean your panel is before you polish,
Even with minerals, it'll make it easier.
yeah, the better it's gonna be.
Because the polish and pad, it's all designed to work on clean paint, right?
Right.
I'm so tempted to flip my towel, Ivan.
Yeah, we all are. That's, like I said, it's ingrained into us from years of flipping towels, but resist the urge.
Let's be honest, if I've never heard of water spot remover before, can I just skip this step?
You can, but you're missing out. It's actually better when you use it. Now, when we're done with the water spot remover, squeeze out the excess, rinse your towels in fresh water. Do not put them back in your wash bucket. This is slightly acidic, and the decontamination towel, the legacy sponge, your wash mitt won't like this product. Now, a little bit of quick beads goes a long way to making wheels easy to maintain. So before I rinse this away, I'll be adding quick beads to the surface of the wheels, letting it dwell. And when I go around rinsing, I'll rinse the wheels. They'll be cleaner, they'll be easier to dry, and the next time they get washed, they'll be even better. You'll notice, just like with the iron remover, there's a bit of frothing that happens. We want to keep rinsing until that froth is gone. But once the froth is gone, you don't need to rinse anymore. Always important to keep your work environment clean. Makes it easier, makes it simpler to do the job, and it sort of denotes when different steps are done. And now, we're almost ready to dry.
I'm a total convert to the Ivan LaCroix system of order and process. You keep your workspace clean, you clean up after every job. Just seems to go smoother, Ivan.
It sure does.
I used to think it was unnecessary steps, but I've said it before, I'll say it again, structure's freedom, and a clean workspace is just a much more pleasant one to work in. It just takes a little bit of time as you're going versus putting it all off.
And it actually saves you time.
Right.
Because in the long run, you're not looking for things if you know where they are. You're not tripping over hoses if you put them away, or extension cords. Just makes it a lot easier. And if you're a professional, it says a lot to your customers what your work environment looks like. If your work environment is messy, dirty, unorganized, that tells the customer that you might be messy, dirty, and unorganized. Now, since this car is regularly treated with ceramic gloss as a drying aid, we're going to be coating this, and we'll need to polish it first to remove that ceramic gloss, and also to undo some of the previous car wash love marks.
What's your best advice for dealing with not the drying process, but the drips that persist afterward?
Compressed air, if you have it. If you have a
Before
vacuum,
or after the towel dry?
after the towel dry, not before. So after the towel dry, compressed air. Now, there are different ways of getting compressed air. You can use a compressor with a hose, that is great. You can use a vacuum cleaner and just reverse it, make sure the filter is clean. And there are all sorts of different blowers available on the market. But the important thing is, first, towel dry. Once the towel drying is done, then go after those little cracks and crevices.
I have another solution for you, Ivan.
Oh, I know you do. The
It's
drip
called
catcher.
The drip catcher. Ultra plush towel, 2 magnets. You tuck in that side mirror like a little baby at night, and you tell him, don't worry, the drip monster is gone. You're safe now. No drips, no problems. Sometimes you gotta talk to the car. It's part of the process, Ivan.
Yep. Now, if you are talking to your car, make sure you have earbuds in so your neighbors think you're just talking on the phone. Nick, speaking of having your earbuds in, is there a podcast they should be listening to?
There's not just one, there's actually an entire playlist. We love answering your questions on YouTube. Please keep asking them, we respond to each one, and they give us ideas for the DIY Detail podcast, which you can dive into right now. We'll see you there.